This is my personal Turbo Levo 4, and here is our Pro Bike Supply After Dark review. As you see this bike, it's spec'd out at $13,500. And after putting well over a few hundred miles on the bike, I've had some time to garner my own opinions and tell you if the Levo 4 is really worth it. Initially, I was drawn to the 111 Newton meters of power and the 840 watt battery capacity, plus knowing Specialized, it was bound to at least not be a bad bike. Being that the motor seemed to be the point of contention with many older Levo owners, let's take a deeper look into the new 3.1 motor. The motor is powerful and super quiet. This is done with some new manufacturing techniques where the coils of the motor are actually wrapped in a vinyl-like material, which lessens the noise and vibration coming from the motor. In an effort to make reliability better than before, they moved away from the belt drive system and now run off of a direct-driven gear system. The real magic comes to looking at the cadence curve though. The old motor peaked out at 70 RPM and many other motors in the market also peaked out around the same point, but that caused the bike to feel kind of dead. You would push hard and the bike would come back. An e-bike isn't for easing off though, it's to push harder than before, which is why the move to give max power between 70 and 120 RPM is so great. You can push the bike hard and feel like it's right there with you, wanting to go faster and faster.
Santa Cruz, my homies.
The first week that I had this bike, we went to Santa Cruz and knocked out 12 hours of riding in just 48 hours. That was a little bit more than 123 miles. It was the perfect place to put this bike through its paces and compare side by side to other popular bikes and motor manufacturers on the market. 4 customizable rider modes help you make your ride as fast or as far as you may need. Turbo was awesome. For example, climbing from the bottom of Flow Trail to the top of Demo Forest, I did it in a little bit under 7 minutes. But honestly, it was a little bit too powerful for me, and I spent most of my time on this bike riding in trail mode. Auto was another mode that I spent a lot of time in, which has a more manageable power curve, which made climbing on technical sections really easy, and in effect felt like an electronic traction control. Now, one of the best parts of the trip is the fact that this bike has fast charging. That allowed us to come back, plug the bikes in, grab a quick lunch and a nap, and before we knew it, the bikes were charged and ready to go for another ride. Now, the one thing to note about these massive chargers is the fact that if you plug multiple into one outlet, you will trip a breaker. We did that a few times. Just only plug one in. The easily removable battery adds ease of owning an e-bike and has me thinking of some pretty crazy ride plans where I could have an extra charged battery waiting for me in my car. This removable battery also makes way for the first internal frame storage in an e-bike, and being transparent, it's a bit difficult to access quickly, but I do have a tubeless plug, a tube, a mini first aid kit, and some food all in the wattage cottage. It's not on my body and it's not on a strap on the frame, so it's pretty good. Just be aware, wrap your CO2s or any hard items in some tube or cloth to make sure they don't bang around the inside of the frame. It's a behemoth to load onto my car, let alone 4 of them when I'm transferring demo bikes or riding with friends. As you see it, this bike weighs 54 pounds. That's pretty heavy, but I should note that is with pedals and with the wattage cottage storage system completely full. But somehow, the bike completely changes when you swing a leg over it. The weight goes away and it feels almost weightless. The bike is 160 millimeters of travel in the front with a Fox 38 and 150 millimeters of travel in the rear with a Fox Genie shock. And in my opinion, the Genie shock is what works to make this bike feel both lighter and faster. The extra weight of the motor and the battery, particularly how it's placed so low, provide a previously unfelt level of stability through fast and rough sections. The Genie rear shock counters this by making the bike feel snappy and direct with direction changes and pops, but maintains that composure on super big hits. At the end of the day, the whole idea of the Genie shock is the fact that it's like an off-road bypass shock. It has super supple, really good small bump sensitivity, and then it has plenty of support for those moments that we all have. My settings for a 170-pound rider are up on the screen now. The new Levo is great. My only other frustration with this bike is the controller. Although it can be made to look clean, I think they totally missed when doing a wired controller versus a wireless controller. On top of this, the controller is super sensitive. It has a lot of different functionality, but when you're actually riding and your hands are bouncing around, it can be a little bit difficult to select modes. Overall, if my only frustrations with the bike are a wired controller that's a little bit too sensitive, at least I know I'll have a huge smile when my wife comes asking why there's so much missing from our bank account. We do have an S3, an S4, and an S5, so make sure you check out Pro Bike Supply and click the link in the description. A little bonus thing that I didn't add into the script, I've been commuting on this thing. It's really, really fun. It goes 28 in the Class 3 mode. It has upset some people, but it's made for a super energizing ride to work. And then when I come home, I get a little bit of energy. I hit some trails. I'm riding 22 miles a day and it's pretty good. So that's another selling point if you're on the fence. Tell your significant other, you can ride this to work. It's saving money on a car. It eventually pays for itself. Boy math.